to explain why documents that might shed more light on what happened have not been made public after 22 years.
We asked Kelly Dalglish, the daughter of Liverpool manager Kenny, to report on the campaigners' hopes for a breakthrough.
Next month, after 22 years, Parliament will debate the Hillsborough tragedy. The events of that day left an indelible mark on me, my dad Kenny Dalglish, and the people of Liverpool. I was 13 years old at the time of the Hillsborough tragedy. I went to the game with my mum and dad and my younger brother. Luckily, the four of us who went to the game came home together safely. Many didn't. Their family's grief was compounded when police briefed journalists that the supporters were to blame and that some had committed atrocities against the dying. To people like me, those shocking lies have always felt part of a wider campaign to hide the truth. I was too young to understand at the time, but I assumed that the inquiry set up after the Hillsborough disaster would provide some answers. Instead, all we got were more questions. We now know that the police solicitors amended junior officers' statements, video evidence simply vanished, and a senior officer gave evidence suggesting that fans forced a gate, a claim Lord Justice Stuart Smith called a disgraceful lie. Despite this, the official inquiry still concluded that South Yorkshire Police were responsible, but no individual was ever properly held to account. Stevie Hart was there on the day of the tragedy.
You shouldn't have to wait 22 years to find out why 96 people died at a football match. I mean, the evidence is there, it's been there for 22 years. They keep throwing back that there's nothing there, there's no need to look at it, get over it, get on with it.
At the inquest, the coroner decided to limit his inquiries to events that took place before 3:15. This meant the response to the disaster by the police, ambulances, fire service and local hospital has never been properly examined or lessons fully learned. Anne Williams still doesn't know exactly how her 15-year-old son Kevin died.
Kevin lived his football. He'd ask, could he go with his friend? His dad says, oh, all he does is study and live his football, so we let him go.
On the day, Stevie Hart tried to help Kevin.
He was only a kid. We knew he was injured, and we ran down as fast as we could. We told the police officer he needs attention, and the police officer told us in those certain terms he'd be fine.
Kevin sustained a neck injury. Now, these injuries are by no means fatal. The swelling would have closed Kevin's airway, but this injury would have taken at least 3/4 of an hour for that to happen.
He was breathing when we took him down. I would never have left him thinking he's not going to get any attention.
What could have helped Kevin?
Oxygen, just oxygen. But South Yorkshire Police have cordoned off all the ambulances.
Somebody, somewhere, would not allow 40 odd ambulances into the grounds, plus the fact there was fire engines outside with cutting equipment and oxygen were not allowed into the grounds. Somebody somewhere stopped it, and yet again we don't know who, we don't know why.
Hope that these questions would finally be answered came in 2009 from the then Culture Secretary Andy Burnham.
The noise that came out when I spoke, I think it woke up the whole country to the fact that this issue is unresolved. People feel that a huge injustice has been done, and because people did that, you know, it helped me then take that issue to the Cabinet and then set up the Hillsborough Independent Panel.
As the panel sifted through the evidence, a BBC Freedom of Information request for minutes of the Cabinet discussions about the tragedy was refused. Immediately, it gave rise to rumours that the Cabinet had been aware of police attempts at a cover-up.
I think people saw the government fighting the Freedom of Information request, and questions began to arise again as to whether or not the panel would be allowed to do its job.
South Yorkshire Police have always denied that there was a systemic attempt to hide the truth, and they're cooperating with the independent review. A petition of more than 100,000 means that next month Parliament will have to debate the issue. Meanwhile, the Hillsborough panel promised that no stone will be left unturned.
Everything, as far as we're concerned, will go into the public domain unredacted. We are committed to full disclosure of all documents from all agencies.
So will access to this information mean that we finally get to the bottom of what happened at Hillsborough, or is it just another false dawn? For the bereaved, for the survivors, and for me, it'll never be over until we find the truth.
For 22 years, it's Liverpool football fans who've been blamed. The families deserve better, and the people who were there certainly deserve better. Without the truth, there will be no justice.
Well, thanks, Kelly. And the Cabinet Office says it's now happy for all the relevant documents to be released to the Hillsborough Independent Panel. It expects them to be shared with the Hillsborough families first and then the public.
However, it is still appealing against the Freedom of Information request. Now, Phyllis, you were telling us during the VT there that your brother luckily had a lucky escape then from the Ibrox match in Glasgow.
Yes, in 1971 he would have been in his late teens then, and he was there but unaware of the disaster because he left before the end, and 66 people were killed there, but we didn't know he'd even escaped until several hours after the event, so we were lucky.
Right, well, many viewers will be familiar with this scene. It is in